It has been quite the offseason for the LA Chargers. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we cover the LA Chargers because we followed Jim Harbaugh out to LA and can't wait to see what he does with this team. So if you get an unbiased look into your team on this channel. So Justin Herbert now is looking at a completely new offense, but he gets great news, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But let's rewind to how we got here. We all know it, but why was Keenan Allen traded? That's the question that we're still trying to kind of figure out. And from an outsider's, it just doesn't feel good. But here's what happened. Remember, Bosa and Mac had agreed to pay cuts, right? All right, we'll do a pay cut, but in turn, we'll get more guaranteed money. Boom. I love it. All good. And so ended up saving about $20 million when they cut Williams. We knew that was coming. Fine. Everybody was cool with that. And then they keep Bosa. Okay, fine. Keep Mac. Okay, fine. And then there was the jarring Allen trade, 4th round pick. So it saves the Chargers an additional $23 million in cap space, which is fine. But what happened was they went to Allen, talked about a pay cut. He didn't want to do it. They wanted to restructure his contract, didn't want to do it. So this is what I want to stay at. Or you can get rid of me. And so they weren't going to cut him. So really what happened was teams knew that he would get cut is basically what it was. And so the Bears said, all right, fine, we'll give you a 4th round pick to come up and take him. So, I mean, he was going to get cut or traded, and finally he gets cut. And so it's like, oh my gosh. So what an offseason for the Chargers. You get Jim Harbaugh, like, let's go, right? And that's the biggest thing. He can turn anybody around overnight. But then you have Joe Ortiz saying, hey, we don't want to tear this down. We don't want to be a full rebuild. He says that from the beginning. I made a video about how I thought that's what you should do. If you're going to have a whole new regime, let's go, let's build it fresh. But they're kind of doing a hybrid, and it's like, all right, we'll see. So meaning they're keeping some old guys, but they're also got rid of some old guys, and they're re-signing a lot of their own players, but they haven't really done any splash moves outside of that. So why is this video about the great Justin Herbert news? Well, we looked at it, and it's like, all right, how is Justin Herbert without his 2 main receivers? Because these guys have had some injury concerns, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. It's like, what if they're not in there? How is Justin Herbert? And so his stats without them, he's averaging about 7 yards per attempt, 13 TDs to 2 interceptions, and almost a 70% completion rate without those 2 main receivers. Now, those numbers, to be fair, only account for about 10% of his completions all time, right? So it's a small sample, but Justin Herbert is going to be asked to do different things now. So are the Chargers done? By no means are they done. They're going to get some, they're going to figure something out. I don't know what. It's looking bleak, but they're going to draft guys. They're going to possibly make a trade. There's some few guys still out there to sign, but a lot of stuff's happened. And so what happens is the Chargers have to find another receiver and some playmakers at tight end. They've signed a couple tight ends, more blocking guys that can go off for passes. So they need to get a dynamic tight end, a couple more wide receivers, and they're going to be just fine. They can find that through the draft with Malik Neighbors. They could take at 5. They could take Marvin Harrison Jr. possibly at 5. Boom, right there. You've got your franchise receiver right back. So remember, Keenan Allen's older and more injuries than not, right? He's got some injuries. So you have Justin Herbert, who's now going to be asked to play a different type of offense, meaning and game manager sounds so just weak and like, oh, he's he's more than that. But no, they're gonna run the ball, they're gonna play good solid defense, and he's gonna manage the game now versus trying to make it happen constantly and just like exhausting. So keep that in mind, that Justin Herbert is just fine and that he is going to be asked to do way different things, not less, just different things. Okay. So with that being said, good news on that front, that he's a really good quarterback. You have a good quarterback. That's the other good news. Look at the Commanders, the Panthers. I mean, some of these moves that they're making, even the Bears. All right, they get Keenan Allen, 4th round pick. Sweet, it's easy. But then what? Right? So you have Justin Fields. Like, is he going to be able to throw it to him? You've got, if not Justin Fields, you're going to have a rookie quarterback. So the Chargers, I know, are just kind of in a little bit of shock here, but you've got a coach and you've got a quarterback. That's the hardest thing. So you can make these mistakes. If it is a mistake, maybe you don't think it is. You can make these mistakes because you've got the coach and the quarterback. That's simply it. And that's the hardest thing to find. So then what you can do is you can go out, you can get a guy like Troy Dye, great linebacker that's been really consistent. I mean, he played 60 games with the Minnesota Vikings. We know that because he was with he's in there against the Lions, 80 tackles, 44 solo, 1 fumble. He started 8 games. Like, that's a good move. That's just a solid linebacker that you've got on your team now. And so as you look at what the Chargers, what's next for the Chargers, I think there's a couple things. Now you've got an extra pick in the 4th round. You're picking high in every round. You're picking high in the 4th round. So your first would be 5 picks. 2 in the 4th are all premium picks. So it's time to nail the draft. That's really what you've set yourself up for. Like a little too reliant on the draft, I would say. And because you kind of want to have your holes filled, some players that if like, you know what, if we didn't even have a draft, we would be okay going into the season with who we have. Right? That's kind of the mindset. No one really thinks that because you've got to get depth pieces and you want to get a starter or 2, no question, hopefully 3 starters. You look at the Lions draft last year where they knocked out of the park 4 starters. That's hard. Just give me a couple starters, some really good backups and guys that we can develop, and let's attack this season. But I think if you're a Chargers fan, Justin Herbert is going to be asked to do different things this year anyway. So it's okay. And without those guys, he still played well. And he's going to have a running game. He's going to have a really good defense. And Jim Harbaugh's here. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom after the Keenan Allen trade. I think everything is going to be okay. And the Chargers are still going to be fun to watch as they build this up. So again, if you're new to the channel, first time watching, hey, don't subscribe yet. Watch a couple more videos. Make sure you like us. But if you've watched a few by now, we'd love if you hit that subscribe button. Really have had some fun. Already up to like 2,000-3,000 subs here. Just a couple weeks old on this channel. We're having a lot of fun with it. So make sure you subscribe. The draft is in Detroit this year, so that's crazy. And it's going to be really exciting. The Chargers are in a great spot. Premium picks. They're probably going to trade out of the 5th even, grab more picks. So it's okay. Let this entire offseason develop and see where things are. And I think it'll be okay. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see all of you on the next one.